Hey guys, so this isn't going to be much of a video. The reason the screen is blacked out is because I don't want to be on camera today. My sunglasses broke yesterday, and I don't want to go on camera without them. I picked them up and they fell apart in my hands. Um, I've never liked being looked at, being watched, being noticed. I've I've always kind of hid. All my life, I was the one with the dark shades and the hood up, right? So nothing has changed now except that the gang stalking has kind of forced me out into the open, so to speak. I make videos because I want to put this information out there, and I want to document my story, right? I want to document what's happening to me. But I'm trying to compromise. I'm still hiding, and I don't plan on changing that. I really need to cover up that way. So yeah, I ordered more sunglasses from some pretty cheap sunglasses from the store. When they arrive, I will start making proper videos again. Until then, I'm still going to document the events that take place. Probably this way with a blacked out screen. All right. Okay. So what happened? Let's see. We're starting yesterday. My mom needed another medication that her doctor wanted her to have, but it wasn't a prescription medication. So I called the pharmacy that where she gets her prescriptions, because they'll deliver, and sometimes they'll include something else if we need it, if it's a medication, even if it's not a prescription. They didn't have it. So I started calling around, and I ended up looking at the website for the store that I used to go to all the time to get her stuff. And I went. This is the same store I went to last time for the flu shot. I looked on the website. They had it. I called them. They said they had it. So I went in, and when I got there, they didn't have it. They didn't have it. They did have the store brand though, so I got that. Hopefully that will be good enough. I'm a little irritated though that they on the phone they said they had it. So it was either the store that lied, or the perpetrators. Of course, they're going to know what I'm doing, so they got there and bought it all out before I got there, which is entirely possible. They do that with food. They do that with all kinds of things. So it might not be the store's fault. Right. Okay. Fast forward. I go to check out, and as I'm approaching the checkout counter, I notice a giant can of Lysol and a bunch of Lysol wipes. And I tell you, I was like a kid in a candy store. I was so excited. You just don't know. We've had Pine Sol. We've had I've taken rubbing alcohol and put it in a spray bottle to sanitize things. I've even used mouthwash to sanitize things. Mouthwash in a spray bottle. I'm not kidding. It's been a long time since we've had proper Lysol. And I know in some videos I corrected myself. I kept saying Lysol when I meant Pine Sol, and I corrected myself. But no, it's been a long time since we had proper Lysol, especially the spray. The spray in the cans. And then I thought, I saw this, and I'm thinking, oh my god, can they possibly be selling this? And I thought, well, no, it probably just belongs to the store. So I asked the guy, and he was the same guy I dealt with last time. I asked him if these are for sale, and he said yes. And I was so elated. I was so overjoyed. It was like, I cannot even describe it. It was indescribable. I was almost jumping up and down. I really had to control myself to not just shout hallelujah. Okay, but then he said, but it's $100. And I tell you, my heart sank. I'm thinking, what? And I thought to myself, never get too happy, because something always goes wrong. There's always a catch. Then he got to and he wasn't behind the cash register at the time. Then he walked over to the cash register and said, "Oh, I was just joking." And I'm thinking, oh, thank God, thank you, Jesus. All right. So I took the giant can of Lysol, and I took some of the Clorox. There were different kinds of not Clorox. I keep saying Clorox wipes. They were Lysol wipes. There were different size containers. I took one of each, and I asked him, okay, well, how much are they? Because I need, there was only one bottle of the Lysol spray, but there were a few Lysol wipes. So I said, at least, how much are these? He didn't answer, and I said, finally I said, well, I do need to know how much at least the Lysol wipes are, because I need to know how many I'm going to get. And he said, well, you can only get one anyway. And that was fine. I totally understand that. But he still didn't tell me how much they costed. And they ended up, the giant can of Lysol ended up being $12, which is reasonable given the pandemic. I mean, it's still more than it would have been normally, but I'm not complaining about it. And I know that he was a swindler, right? I know that, and this is a very typical strategy. Like, someone will start off by saying, hey, by giving you a really high price, and then they'll go down and they'll say, oh, no, here, you can have it for, so and so. And you're so glad, you're just so happy that it's not that insanely high price that you were first quoted, that you'll accept a lower price, even though it's higher than it should be. But this wasn't too bad, even though I knew he was kind of a con man. It wasn't too bad, and there was no way I was putting that can of Lysol back. All right, I was leaving with it. There was no other. I was going to leave with it, or I wasn't leaving. Right. Germaphobia. I look back now, and I know that I was always weird with germs, and I never considered myself a germaphobe before, right? But now I see that it might have gotten a bit obsessive. And now that the pandemic has started, we're in the middle of a pandemic, it's getting pretty bad. It's getting almost unmanageable, right? I don't know, this feeling of being tainted all the time and having to sanitize and re-sanitize and re-sanitize again. And, even before the pandemic started, I always had Clorox wipes or Lysol wipes. I always had cans of Lysol. And I want to say I was never that bad about it, but maybe I was. And then when I couldn't get that anymore, I panicked. I had used, we used Pine Sol. I put rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle. I even put a mouthwash in a spray bottle to sanitize. That's why I was so excited when the store had the Lysol yesterday. But this is getting a little crazy, and I think I need to kind of get a grip when it comes to this issue. Anyway, okay. I got home and there was a woman sitting in the lobby on our floor, not the lobby, but she was sitting on our floor by the elevators. There are chairs. And she's a perpetrator. I know she is. She's perped me in the past. That when they came out with these new rules that said we have to be mindful of how we dress and we can't dress inappropriately, we can't wear anything that's inappropriate, I figured this is not going to apply to the perpetrators. It's only going to apply to me, because I had shirts that talked about organized stalking, that mentioned organized stalking, and some people had commented on them. And my mom had a shirt too that talked about Jesus, and some people commented on that. And so I figured, okay, we're not going to be allowed to wear that anymore, but the perpetrators will still be allowed to dress inappropriately. Well, this woman, they had her, after I mentioned that, they had this woman, or did it? Wasn't even just after I thought it. I don't know. They had this woman come by, sit in the lobby. She wasn't wearing her work uniform. She was dressed very. Her clothing was skimpy, very skimpy and very tight. Fake eyelashes, makeup. And it was just to show me that, yeah, that's right. They don't have to follow the rules, but I do. This isn't going to stop them. It's not going to hinder them. It's just going to hinder me. And personally, I really don't care how these people dress. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. The irritation was the fact that they're showing me the rules don't apply to them. But I'm going to be held accountable for every little misstep. Right. So, okay, fast forward to today. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Back to yesterday. So my mom had an appointment next door at the doctor, and this is with the same place that kept showing up at our door and asking her if she wants to come now. Do you want to come now? Do you want to come now? Do you want to come now? And I had to tell them, stop it. Okay, just stop it. She had an appointment, and initially she brought back a sheet with her from her prior appointment, and it didn't say she had an appointment that day. It was actually the day before, and she had canceled that day. But they told her on the phone, oh, well, your appointment isn't today, it's tomorrow, which was not true. We had it written down on the sheet that it was for that day, but fine. She didn't, and at that point, it was the day before yesterday. So she kept the appointment for yesterday then. She initially wasn't sure what time it was because there were 2 calls from the office, one telling her it was 10 o'clock or 10:15, The other, a different person called and said it was at 11 o'clock. These people just cannot get their shit together. It's really getting irritating. Um, so, we called back, and it was, we got the appointment time. It was 11 o'clock or 10:30, something like that. Or it was 11:30, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, but here's the thing. The woman was still sitting outside. The woman who works here, who I said was a perpetrator. She was still outside, and so, when I had come up, I had said, she didn't have her mask on, and she put it on as soon as she saw me. Okay, in the perpetrators will, they'll have the perpetrators do that a lot, where someone will pass me by, and their mask will be off, and they'll sneeze, or they'll cough, and then as soon as they pass by, they'll put the mask back on, because they know that I'm a germaphobe. They know that it's driving me crazy, and they know that I worry about getting my mom sick. I don't want to get her sick. Especially, it's just the nature of this building. We have to be more careful. So they're risking the spread of it. People can be spreaders without even knowing they're sick. So they're risking the spread of it by doing that, and they don't give a damn. They don't care. Coughing in someone's face. Well, okay, so I had my mom in the apartment, and I'm getting her ready for her appointment, and we're by the door, and we're about to leave, and I hear a loud sneeze outside right by the door. So the woman was no longer sitting at the chair. She's now by our door, and she works from floor to floor, so it's not like she didn't have a reason to be there, but she wasn't there when I came in, and I could tell from the sound of the sneeze that she was not wearing her mask. And I've seen them do this, but I've seen a lot of people do this before. They'll be wearing a mask, and then they'll take it off to cough or to sneeze, which makes no sense. It defeats the purpose of wearing the mask, right? The whole purpose of the mask is so that they don't spread their germs if they have to cough or sneeze. I mean, they make no sense. These people, right? Why would you why would you take the mask off to cough or to sneeze, right? Especially in someone else's vicinity, right? You're right by someone else. They'll wear it, like, literally they'll wear it the entire time. They'll wear it for hours, and they don't take it off until they have to sneeze. It makes absolutely no sense. Okay. Maybe 5 seconds later, I heard her let out a hacking cough, and it was a wet, I could tell her chest was congested. It was a wet, hacking cough. And we know that the virus is aerosol, so it's airborne. It's gonna stay in the air. It can stay, particles can stay in the air for hours, and people are gonna walk out of their apartments and breathe that shit in. And my mother had to leave the apartment to go to her appointment. So I took the giant can of Lysol I had bought the other day, or no, not the other day. I had bought earlier that day, and I took it, and I'm trying to save this because I don't know when I'll get another can. I took it and I sprayed it outside, and I know it's not air sanitizer. Doesn't matter. I sprayed it outside before my mom walked out. I sprayed it by the elevator where the woman had gone back to sit down. Again, mask off, and she put it on when she saw me. I sprayed it everywhere till the entire hallway smelled like Lysol. So that's what happened. Oh, right, okay. So finally today, I went downstairs to get the mail, and there were 2 letters. One was for me and one was for my mom, and both were from the Secretary of State, and they both said the same thing, that they hadn't gotten documentation of our being registered to vote by mail, but if we want to, we can sign up for it, and they can give us directions on how to do that. Well, the thing is, I've already signed both of us up to vote by mail, and I got an email response stating it. So I don't know what's going on. Hopefully, the forms that I got and sent in were from a legitimate source. Anyway, that's all for now. As I said in the beginning, when I get my sunglasses, they should be here in a few days, I will start making proper videos again. Until then, I'm going to be documenting in this manner. Peace.